Welcome to the Hank Gianvecchio Natural Habitat Area. I'm your host, Fred Maier. Today we want to talk about the importance of some native species that support butterflies. There's some butterflies that disappear if you lose certain plants. I'm standing right here surrounded by a lot of milkweed. This is common milkweed. It's a native species. It is very, very common in a well-established prairie. And in the old days, years and years ago, back when I was young, this was actually a very common plant growing along fields and along roadsides. Unfortunately, over the last 40 years or so, milkweed has become kind of a disappearing species. And we discovered that along with the milkweed, we started losing our monarch butterflies. Monarch butterfly caterpillars can only eat milkweed leaves. This is the only plant they grow on. If it's not a species of milkweed, the caterpillars have nothing to eat. Adult monarch butterflies flutter around looking specifically for milkweed plants. When they find them, they land on them, lay their eggs, and then the caterpillars hatch out, start really tiny, and start chomping down on milkweed leaves. They get bigger and bigger and bigger, and eventually, of course, like all caterpillars do, they form a chrysalis on a milkweed plant, and then sometime later, based on temperature and time, they will emerge as new adult monarch butterflies. But if you lose the milkweed plant, you lose the monarch. What's so special about milkweed plants that the monarchs have to depend on them? In each milkweed plant, there is a toxin, a naturally occurring poison. It's a cardioglycoside. Whoa, big word. Just means that it affects the heart. So most animals that eat this wind up getting poisoned. But the monarch caterpillar has evolved a very sophisticated digestive system so that instead of being killed by the poison, its digestive tract actually separates out that chemical and stores it in little bursa, little sacs. And then when it becomes an adult, that toxin is pumped throughout the whole body of the monarch butterfly. Monarch butterflies are a brilliant orange and black color, very, very conspicuous. Now, if you don't want to get eaten, you either have to hide really well or you have to do something to keep predators from wanting to eat you. By having all this poison in the adult body, they're very toxic to any animal that eats them. If a bird scarfs down a monarch butterfly, they get so violently ill, they're vomiting, regurgitating. It takes one try, and a bird will never touch another monarch. They absolutely refuse to eat them anymore because of that terrible experience they have. The interesting thing is there's another species of butterfly, the viceroy, that's kind of very, very similar in appearance to a monarch. It's a mimic. Viceroys aren't poisonous. Totally safe for a bird to eat. Yet, you give him one monarch, he'll never touch another viceroy. So very, very important to have milkweeds around if you want to save both the monarch and the viceroy butterfly. Another species that we've got that also helps support a specific species of butterfly is the Queen Anne's lace. Now, Queen Anne's lace is a member of the dill or fennel family. It's kind of a benign, non-native species, and the black swallowtail depends on the Queen Anne's lace, also known as a wild carrot, to lay its caterpillar eggs on. So the caterpillars, again, live on Queen Anne's lace, on wild dill, on fennel, those sorts of plants. So if you do wind up in your garden, you're trying to grow some dill, and you get these weird-looking caterpillars on it, you may want to let one of the plants be sacrificed for the caterpillars, because they will eventually go through pupation and mature into black swallowtails. So again, the idea is by having a large natural habitat like this, with the diversity of native and even some non-native species, we're providing specific plants for specific butterflies so that they have an opportunity to survive. If you look at your neighborhood lawns, most lawns don't have milkweeds, most lawns won't allow you to grow wild carrot, Queen Anne's lace. But by having special areas like the Hangtje Natural Habitat Area, not only are we preserving these native species, we're preserving the butterflies that depend on them to survive.